So there's always some kind of controversy about did Kirk have a second 5-year mission after the motion picture and before the Wrath of Khan. There's a lot of expanded universe type stuff that does say yes, he did indeed have a 5-year mission, which this kind of alludes to. He is doing something as Admiral aboard the Enterprise. So, but people don't like that idea because they think that it loses some of the meaning when McCoy tells Kirk in Wrath of Khan that he needs to get the ship back. So you're supposed to really get the feeling that he's maybe gone all this time between the two movies without being in command. But I don't necessarily see it that way. I think that he could have had 5-year mission or so in between. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 years before the two movies, right? It was a good lot of. It was a good
chunk of time. I don't know exactly how long, but it was a while.
All right, I just
luckily they brought it back because Wrath of Khan was kick-ass.
It was. All right, so you have something to talk about on page 2, something about the way the alien looks?
Well, the first thing I just wanted to mention is in the Admiral's spacious office, they got 2 models of ships. And I just wanted to comment on that the ship on the left has, or appears to have, 3 nacelles, which is quite a bit like the eventual morphing of the Enterprise, D, when Riker was Admiral, as you may recall.
I do recall.
I don't remember the exact name of that Next Gen episode, but
that was
Riker
All Good Things.
Was that?
Yeah.
Well, was that All the Good Things?
Yeah.
Really?
It was when Picard was going to the future.
I guess that would have been one of
them. And Riker was captain of the Enterprise D, and Troy was dead, so he was really bitter about that. As you know, he was old and gray, and he was bitter because she chose Worf, but she died or something. I can't really remember, but and he didn't want to help Picard because he thought he was just a crazy old man. But yeah, that was the. But we obviously know that future couldn't happen because Enterprise D got blown up real good.
Exactly, blowed up really good. So obviously a different timeline.
Yep. Okay. So to me, the ambassador, which I know is not the alien you're talking about, but the ambassador looks a lot like. He looks like a purple Greedo with like really long ears. Greedo from Star Wars.
Yeah.
With the long tubular nose or mouth or whatever he is, with the big gigantic black eyes.
He looks like that, or one of the guys from a like a Muppet movie, like the Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal.
He reminds me kind of a Dark Crystal.
Especially with the 4 legs, where he has 4 legs and then 2 arms. So yeah, there's those creatures in the Dark Crystal did have the 4 legs and the 2 arms, and they had the real long, flowing robe-looking things. No, I see that. But now the prisoner. The prisoner is a red alien, and he looks just like Alien from Aliens. Alien from Aliens.
He's an interesting riff on one. Because you'll notice that he's got the same tail. He's got the same forehead. He's got the same kind of nasty teeth.
He has the same mouth.
But they've just changed a few things to him. Like, for instance, he's got some kind of underwear.
Well, he's wearing clothes. This is a kid's book. He can't
I know.
naked.
That's fine.
He's not Chewbacca.
But the other thing is, look at him. He's got this kind of like crown kind of thing that reminds me of those dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Right.
That killed that villainous computer programmer.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yep.
So I kind of like that. That's kind of a nice.
But then he also has he doesn't have eyes.
Oh, he's got horns.
He doesn't have eyes like the alien. Alien also does not have eyes in the movie, but he has these like weird looking horn things that makes him kind of look like a bull alien. Like if an alien had bull horns.
Right.
He does look like that, and he's red.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so he beams over and he attacks poor Chief Rand.
Right.
I do like that she's back. I don't think she ever showed back up after issue number 1 and the Gold Key stuff, but I'm glad to see that. I was glad to see that she was in the movie, and then I was glad to see that she's in this comic. She doesn't ever make it to Wrath of Khan, though, and you don't ever see her again. Or do you?
Well, so Wrath of Khan was the last one where they had that little throwaway when they left Dock or the left Earth or whatever.
But she's not in that one.
Oh,
she's not on the Enterprise after.
No, not on the Enterprise, but she's on the space station or something.
Is
Which
she
one was
in
it?
episode 2? Issue number 2?
Well,
movie number 2.
It was one of the movies, and I thought it was Wrath of Khan, but I could be wrong. But it's like they're heading out again, and then she's like in some kind of control station where they can see the ship leaving, and she makes some comment to the other guy in the room about them just going off and getting in trouble again or something like that.
Yeah, it was Star Trek 6.
Oh, was it 6?
Yeah, because
okay.
she's like the Helms officer for Excelsior.
Oh.
She's on Sulu's Excelsior.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember that.
And she also makes a guest star in that episode of Voyager where called Flashback, where come to find out Tuvok also was aboard Excelsior.
Oh.
And she kind of interacts with Tuvok and George Takei in that episode. Do you remember that one?
Oh, I remember the episode where they... Yeah, it was like... I do remember that one, but I don't remember Rand being there.
Rand. I might be wrong, but
no, you're probably right.
I think she is, and I always thought it was. I always felt a little bad for her because, I mean, she was in almost every episode of the original show, probably as many episodes as Sulu was, and yet when that episode
wasn't that like the first season though?
Was she not in the second?
I don't remember seeing her that much after the first season.
Well, I know that when that episode of Voyager came out, it was like Sulu's back.
Oh,
it's so great to have Sulu back, and then I was like,
what about Rand
right there?
Oh.
All right, so when this sonar thing goes off at Kirk's suggestion, I didn't really like this effect with the little sonar-looking circles.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Daredevil. I don't know if you've ever read a lot of Daredevil,
right.
but it's also by Marvel, and that's how
I've read Daredevil. Come on.
That's how he sees the world. When the two crewmen are about to get really close and then they get attacked by the werewolf.
Yeah.
To me, that's the first time that we've ever seen crew members getting romantic with each other, right? In the Star Trek universe.
We generally don't.
Yeah, because it was really frowned on. There was no families. There was no.
Well. However.
Yeah.
Cisco.
That's later. I'm talking about up until this point in the old show and in the one movie that we have to reference.
Granted.
And I know Kirk and everybody had their little flings with all the aliens.
Sure, but they didn't bring them back.
Exactly. This was the first time that you saw, hey, these people could actually hook up while they're on the ship.
Sure. And another thing is that the guy looks a lot like Chekhov.
I thought he looked like Donny Osmond.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Well, when I was first looking, I thought, hey, okay, good. Chekhov's in this one. Good. And then I find out, oh, that's not Chekhov. Of course, I mean, he comes in down here, of course.
Right.
But I thought he was Chekhov.
That's crewman Cyron Williams. Now, you can't recognize Cyron Williams? Shame on you.
I can't recognize Cyron Williams from Chekhov.
But then we go to the rec hall, and Sulu is fencing, and Chekhov is just eating an apple, like, commenting on Sulu's fencing. Yeah. And then they get attacked by a ghost, and Chekhov just suddenly whips out a phaser and shoots it. I'm like, he's eating an apple. Why does he need a phaser in the rec room?
Yeah, and you can see it's at his side.
Oh, well, they have
It's just why people don't. He's not a well.
He becomes
he's a weapons
officer later.
He's a weapons officer.
I don't know what he is right here.
But why? Yeah, he's relaxing. Why does he have a phaser?
Exactly.
Maybe he just wants to make sure he wins when he competes against Chekhov or Sulu. I don't know.
Do like a Raiders of the Lost Ark thing where Sulu's there with his sword and Chekhov just shoots him.
Yeah.
Nice. Now they make a comment here when Kirk is when Chekhov tells Kirk what happened, and he says, I even used my Russian-made phaser.
Yes, exactly.
Which I know they made that joke all the time in
Russian,
the original
whatever,
series,
superior.
But is it really Russian?
It looks just like all the others.
Exactly. Would he have a special phaser? Maybe that's why he's casting on him. I don't want my Russian phaser to get mixed up with you guys' cheap
even
Federation
though they look exactly the same.
I just thought that was weird. I understand it was a joke, and it's a joke they used in the old show, but when Dracula shows up, and yes, it's Dracula.
And not only is it Dracula, but it's real Dracula or something.
I think what put me off when I read this the first time was Spock says, fascinating, Captain. Dracula has not been seen since he was slain by Jonathan Archer. I mean, Jonathan Harker. Quincy Harker, excuse me.
What?
But when I reread it, it says legend, Earth legend. He's legendarily was killed by, I thought his name was Jonathan, but this says Quincy, by Quincy Harker. So, okay, I get it. It's a legend, not necessarily. It's not really Dracula.
Sure. And Jonathan Harker.
Quincy.
Well, no, Jonathan.
Okay.
In the original story, Harker was... I thought Harker... No, that's Renfield. Renfield is the guy who ended up was the lawyer that went there, who ended up becoming the weird guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And Harker was
the bug-eating guy.
girl's boyfriend.
Exactly. Right. I didn't remember him killing him. I thought it was Dr. Van Helsing, but yeah. And then Quincy. The only Quincy I remember seeing is the later remake. I'm sure this was all part of the original story, but in the remake that Francis Ford Coppola did of Dracula,
right?
There was a Quincy character in there. I don't remember his name being Harker, but there was a Quincy character.
Huh.
So there were like three guys, younger, strapping guys that were helping get Dracula in that movie, and one of them's name was Quincy.
Oh, that's funny. I've only seen that movie once. I don't really remember it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Maybe the movie in some aspects was closer to the original book.
Yeah. It was supposed to be. It was called Bram Stoker's Dracula, wasn't it?
Exactly.
All right. So when Dracula turns into mist and goes into the turbo lifts, Kirk does call them elevators.
Yeah. Well, isn't turbo lift? Isn't that a little European?
Is it?
And we don't call them lifts.
But we don't call them turbo
in the US.
elevators.
Well, no, but
I mean, these things can go left, right, up, down.
Well,
these are great.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying the turbo is the part that makes it futuristic. So there are many examples in the Star Trek universe where they go ahead and take something today and then give it a futuristic application, like tractor beam.
Right.
Okay. Tractor, as in something you use on the farm, to pull things. So I'm just saying that this is the same kind of application.
I totally see what you're saying.
The only thing is, why do they use the European name for a elevator?
Well,
shorter?
Don't they use meters and stuff instead of miles? So I mean,
meters. Yeah.
In
it's the
Star
way
Trek,
they spell it.
In Star Trek, don't they use meters? I know in the Next Generation they do, but I can't remember.
And they should, because at the time they were producing the show, the metric system was supposed to be the future. Kind of funny how
it still might be.
It might be, but boy, we're pretty slow about doing it in the States.
All right. The last thing I have on this issue, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of where you're at. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is on the very last page. We have like Megora kind of laughing, and these three panels, it shows him kind of like in a thinker position, and then it kind of has him looking up at the ceiling in the brig, and then it has him opening up his mouth and laughing.
Yeah.
That last page, once you take they did a close up on him, so it cuts off the horns. It is Alien. It looks just like the chest buster that comes out of Kane's chest there in the mess hall. So I mean, obviously this was like a Halloween themed couple issues. So and Alien had just came out like the year before. So I mean, it was probably still pretty fresh in everybody's minds.
Cool.
I just like it. I thought that was a nice little nod.
Yeah, I like that. That was a nice closing too.